Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're in the stunning capital of Vilnius, Lithuania. It's December, obviously, like the other videos. The Christmas season is just around the corner, and I couldn't have picked a better time to explore this beautiful little gem of a city. We're starting our journey. It's mid-afternoon. I actually arrived a couple of hours ago, but I had a scheduled class with one of my loyal students, and I couldn't miss it. So I popped into a McDonald's that was close by, grabbed a coffee, and connected to the Wi-Fi. And because it's December, the days are quite short. So the sun looks like it'll be setting in not such a long time, unfortunately. But we still got plenty of time to shoot. So there's still some daylight to soak in the sights. And most of this walk will be under the magical glow of Vilnius at night. So I'm sure you'll enjoy the contrast there. The festive atmosphere is maybe, for Vilnius, pretty buzzing. You've got the twinkling lights that you'll see, some holiday music, people wrapped up in scarves and coats strolling around, especially in the more busy areas. The air feels quite crisp, but not biting, just enough to make you appreciate holding a hot drink as you walk, but unfortunately today, not for me. Vilnius is one of those cities that feels like it's out of a fairy tale, you could say. It's different, certainly, in many ways, and to me, in my opinion, it's got much more of an Eastern European feel than many of the places that I've been to in Europe already. Compared to the Baltics, I would say it feels a bit more Soviet, personally, than Riga and Tallinn, which I've already been to before this trip to Vilnius, where I'll be staying for just one night, unfortunately, before heading over to Warsaw early in the morning. And it's about an 8-hour journey there by bus. But in terms of Vilnius, it's got winding streets, historic buildings, and a certain kind of cozy charm, you could say. So let's dive in and explore a little bit more as I walk around the city a bit and head into the center, the very heart of the city. So as I kind of briefly mentioned, I arrived by bus, and basically my plan is to walk straight into the heart, the core of the city. So we're going to head into the Old Town, again a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the largest surviving medieval old towns in Europe. I guess kind of like the other Baltic states. Walking through here feels like stepping back in time. Kind of the same feel that I got from the other two Baltic states, though from my own point of view, I would say that it's a bit quieter, or at least in these parts, probably as I'm not quite in the old town yet. There's a kind of coldness in the air, might I say, in my opinion. We've got cobbled streets, they twist and turn, lined with colourful facades of Baroque and Gothic buildings, like Riga. And I guess on every corner, there's probably a hidden story behind it. One of the things so far that I find interesting about Vilnius is that it's got a certain calmness about it. It doesn't feel quite so touristy as other places that I've been to, especially in Western and Central Europe, it feels a bit more off the beaten track and different. It feels European but different to what I'm used to. Even though it's a capital city, there's no overwhelming rush here. A little bit like some of the Latin speaking countries in Europe, but in a different way. There's a coldness in the air. It's a calmness coming from some other place. There just seems to be a steady rhythm of people going about their day, heading out when they need to, because they need to pick up some butter from the local shop or something. I passed a few cozy cafes with inviting window displays of cakes and pastries. You can hear snippets of conversations on the street in Lithuanian and probably even Russian. And I guess you might hear some of the other Baltic languages too. So that's how our walk starts. And seeing as I arrived from the bus station and still had my stuff on me, a big bag on my back, and with maybe light not being so important, I headed to where I was staying, my accommodation, quickly dropped off my bag. I hadn't had any breakfast or anything to eat, and it was already about 3 or 4 p.m. So I went straight for some food. Unfortunately, the audio was not functioning whilst I was in the restaurant, and giving my musings, I was talking about where I was and giving some thoughts on stuff. But I'll give you a few shots, but not so many that you get bored. But I essentially found this really cool, actually Belarusian restaurant, which was all about the freedom of Belarus, I believe. But I really liked the place. The food was great. I thought it was actually going to be a Lithuanian restaurant, but in a way, you could say every cloud has a silver lining. But they essentially had this menu that I was holding that was like a newspaper, and it gave some sort of little texts, articles about certain interesting topics, all related to the restaurant and the history of it and the history of Belarus. But I very much enjoy the food. I like the atmosphere in the place. The waitress was lovely, and unfortunately, there just the audio was, well, I guess the mic wasn't located in a very conducive spot to hear me very well. So the audio is just too quiet. But lovely place. And after there, I headed straight into the very centre, I believe, towards Gediminas Tower, as well as St. Anne's Church and some other churches, I believe, of the city. But the sun had set. It was dark, as you can see. As I walked closer and closer to this wonderful tower that we're going to get a shot of. But it's a bit of a climb. You come to this large building before you go on and continue to Gediminas Tower. Essentially about the tower, it's certainly worth the view. I would make the little climb up this little hill, even in the dark. Do it. It's worth it, and maybe it was even better considering the time of day it was. That it was probably a bit quieter than it normally is when there's actual daylight about. But the tower is all that remains of the upper castle, which was part of Vilnius's fortifications. As I make my way up the hill, I can feel the city stretching below me, and it's really quite stunning. You can see all the lights, the wonderful lights in the dark make the view really picturesque. From the top, you get a panoramic view of Vilnius. When it's light enough, you can see the red rooftops, the spires of the old town churches, and the Neris River winding its way through the city. Even in winter, when the trees are quite bare, there's something so peaceful about this view. Or maybe it's because there's a lack of tourists around. I imagine what it must have been like centuries ago, standing up here as a guard, watching for invaders, bitter cold winds, and probably a lot more snow. But it's kind of, I guess, a reminder of how old this city is and how much history is packed into its streets. Then, actually, on the way there, in the pitch dark, there was St. Anne's Church, I believe it was. One of the most striking sights, even at night. This Gothic masterpiece is made entirely of red brick, and it's so intricate that Napoleon himself supposedly wanted to take it back to Paris. Lit up against the dark, it looks almost otherworldly, like something out of a Gothic novel. Right next to it is the Bernardine Church, which is equally beautiful, but in a more understated way. Vilnius is often called the city of churches. As you walk through the old town, you'll probably see why. Each one has its own character. Some are grand and imposing, while others are small and tucked away. They're a reminder of the city's deep spiritual roots. And then after those two places in the very centre, I kind of decided to get a bit lost. Walk around the old town and sort of see what was around. You've got obviously the Christmas markets. It's got a nice nighttime atmosphere, especially as the sun has set, is glowing with lights. You've got the Christmas market at the Cathedral Square. At night, the Christmas tree looks even more spectacular, obviously, with its light shining against the dark sky. As well, walking through these lovely streets, or along these lovely streets, you've got the university and you've got street art. As you wander further, the university, which was founded in 1579, it's one of the oldest universities in the region, actually. The campus is a maze of courtyards and beautiful old buildings, kind of like the universities back home to a certain extent. It feels like a city within a city. There's also a fun, youthful energy here with students walking around and chatting. Or maybe that's just the locals enjoying the Christmas atmosphere. Vilnius is also known for its vibrant street art scene, which feels like a modern counterpart to its historical charm. A perfect contrast. In fact, just around the corner from the university, there's a famous mural of a monk and a businessman playing chess. It's quirky and thought-provoking, and it shows how Vilnius blends its old soul with a fresh, creative spirit. And then after all that nighttime walking, and after having digested the previous meal only a few hours earlier, it was time for maybe another dinner, this time a Lithuanian one, a Lithuanian meal. It maybe made me quite hungry walking up that hill, or maybe it was the smells in the air. but I headed to a seemingly nice looking restaurant, maybe not the fanciest, but it was nice enough and a little bit loud. And let's cut to that now to give you a little idea of what it was like and the foods that I tasted. So, here I am in Vilnius, bro. I'm sitting down to a meal in the city centre. I picked a very Lithuanian dish. So sausage with sour cream and like some lard, it seems like bacon and lard. I had some food about an hour ago. I don't know if it's going to go on YouTube because I think the sound quality is terrible. Unfortunately, I think the sound quality is so bad I won't be able to say that. I went to a Belarusian restaurant accidentally, actually. It was delicious. It seemed very authentic, traditional. I've got like the whole works. I got a shot of cherry vodka. No, a shot of cherry something. It's a spirit. It was delicious. I got some mulled wine with honey in. It was called like Zebnik or something. That was tasty as well. I love mulled wine. And then I got Granny's Pot. It was basically Belarusian hash browns, sour cream. They love sour cream. An egg and sausages. They love sausages as well. Like all these Baltic Eastern European countries love sour cream. They love sausages. They love potatoes. The Baltics love this bread, rye bread. And I had a great experience. The waitress was lovely. I had a little chat. She recommended me all the stuff I ate. I even left a little tip. She was very helpful. It's a bit oily, but I wanted to try something very Lithuanian, something I hadn't seen in the other Baltics. Like a lot of the dishes cross over. Probably a bit too fatty for my taste. So oily, unfortunately. And wrapping up the night, I am shattered. I had a morning bus reasonably early from Riga today, and tomorrow I've got an extraordinarily early bus to Warsaw, which is about 8 hours away, and therefore I'm going to hit the hay. I'm stuffed, and it's getting colder and colder. The air is crisp, and as you can see here, the last thing I see is a lovely little ice skating rink with music playing, but still the streets are becoming quieter and the glow of the Christmas lights is still giving it a feel that things are alive. But despite how brief my visit here has been, it's still been a joy exploring the city for its historical landmarks and festive markets, and it's just interesting how it differs from where I'm from. And there we have it, guys. Let's finish things there. Thank you very much for joining me on this walk through Vilnius. I hope it was a joy for you to listen to and watch at the same time. If you've enjoyed this video, like it obviously. Please subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. Let me know in the comments what you'd love to see next time, which parts of the world you'd like me to visit next. Have you been to Vilnius? Is it on your bucket list? Until next time, take care. Happy travels, guys. Bye bye.